Hello, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to turn this cube into a fabulous stylized rock. So let's get started. So first you're going to need a cube. You're going to want to go to modifiers. We're going to get a subdivision surface and pump this up to 5. Just a heads up, this first rock I will be showing you might be a little chunky on the computer. What we're going to do is we're going to make a fancy rock. Then we're going to make a lower poly version of it by using like a decimate. And then I'm going to show you how to make it just a completely different type of rock that looks somewhat similar but is probably not going to kill your computer. So I'm just going to do shade smooth. Okay, so back on track, we're going to go to search, just get a displace. And down here, when it says new, we're going to make a new, and you can name it whatever you want. Rock. Beautiful. And we're going to go down here to this texture to edit rock. Now on image or movie, right here it says type, we're going to want this to go down to Voronoi. Okay, and it made our rock explode. That's great. Instead of actual distance, you want distance squared. And on size, we're going to make it bigger until we get to like right about here. You can adjust it, but this is a good type for a rock. And let's see, I already put this at 5. The more you have, the more like less crispy looking this rock is going to be. So it's whatever you want. I tend to see that I'm going to turn on the strength to 0.8. That just makes it a little less. Blah. I'm going to actually pump this back up to 6. However much your computer can handle, I guess. So real quick, I'm going to add in a empty plane axis. And I'm going to go over here to coordinates, go to object, and select this empty. And what this is going to allow you to do is change the shape of your rock. So like, I kind of like that. This has more sharp edges. It's not as rounded and floaty. So this is the rock I want. So real quick, I'm going to duplicate this rock and apply all of these. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the original and the empty and move it together, because if you move them together, it's going to stay the same. Otherwise, it's going to go blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. So now that we have this rock, I think I'm going to leave it sitting up like this. You could probably make it like that. But yeah. Now, real quick, I just want to test something. Can I flatten this? I don't like that divot that much. No, I want you to. Where's the smooth? Smooth might work. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. I just don't like that divot. I don't like this divot. And I don't like this divot. That's the one thing about this method, is it leaves these little divots, which aren't normally that big of a deal, but I don't like them. I just whispered something. I don't know if you could hear it. I just whispered I don't like them. But okay, let's get back. So now we have this glorious rock, and now we're going to use a cool technique I learned from a video that I can't remember. What the video showed me, it was mainly for like edge wear on like buildings and robot stuff, but it works for rocks. So let's get started. We're going to make a new geometry node system, and I'm going to call this Rocky Road because I think it's fun. And all we need in Rocky Road is to get edge, attribute, shift, edge. So this forgive me, edge angle, and we're going to take unsigned angle and plug it to the output. Now I think some people would do like capture attribute, but you just need to plug it in, at least with this one. I'm going to call this edgy, and it's important you give it a name and you remember what the name is, because let's say I take my texture I'm going to make and apply it to another one. I will need to apply this geometry node system to that other one, and I'll need to use the same name. So make it something that's, I guess, easy to remember. You can copy and paste. Just, yeah. So I'm gonna go quick. I actually need to add a light. Sun. I have created the sun. And then real quick, I'm gonna make the sun stronger and make it a 5. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna go to, I don't even have to leave object and just do shading. Let's make a texture, call it Pro Rock. Pro Rock, that's short for procedural rock. And reason I'm specifying it is because we're going to texture bake this procedural texture so that you can take this really high poly rock, simplify it, and still have this texture. So yeah, that's why we're specifying. Okay, first step first is we're going to need to delete it. I'm going to type in attribute. This is going to give us our attributes, and the attribute we want to grab is edgy. I can just plug edgy in, and you will see edgy. This actually looks pretty good as is. Look, you can see the divots. You can see the divots. So that looks pretty good, but what we want to do is type in color ramp and use a color ramp instead. That way we can like crisp it up and make sure that we're just getting these edges. Now it's a little crispy. That's just because we have, you need to have more subdivisions. But this actually looks pretty good. If you texture bake it, you can go back over and like smooth these out. That's one good thing about texture baking. So this is our like rocky edgeware. Rocky edge. We'll just move this to the side for now. And next we're going to get the rock base. So we're going to get a Voronoi. Smooth F1. I'm going to plug this into color ramp. And real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do mix color. Set this to add. So I'm going to pump this here. And this here. And now you can see it. We've added this, and if you want the blinds to be weaker, you can just pull this down and they'll be fainter. But yeah, so that's how you could do it. You could also do it like this. And then you would put this on top, and you would use this to control, which might be easier. We'll probably just leave it like this. For now, I'm going to make this bright. Now for our rock colors, I'm going to make this a pale gray blue, and this is going to be kind of the same thing, but like more on this side. Yeah, we're going to take the value down, make it darker, saturation. Hold on, make it more in this blue gray. And maybe make it brighter. It's maybe make it much darker. A little bit. Maybe I'll pinch them a little closer together. Okay. Maybe not. We'll make it more clear in a minute. So I'm gonna take the smoothness and type in noise. And I'm just gonna pull up the scale a bit. Scale. It's kind of hard to see because their colors aren't contrasting that well. Maybe I'll make this darker. There. Yeah, now we can see it better. Okay. And I'm also going to duplicate this noise and now, stop it. Take that noise and put it into randomness. And take this down. Okay. So we got scale, you can adjust how you want it. Same with the randomness. I'm going to put it like around 21. I think that's pretty good. Next up, I have Node Wrangler enabled so I can just hit Control T. If you do not, then you'll just want to add a texture coordinate and a mapping. And I'm going to kind of like smush it a bit along the Z by increasing the Z. Increasing the Z, just a little, just to give it a little like flatness. Let's see, maybe I can increase the distortion a little bit on this noise. Maybe increase the detail. Scale bigger. Decrease roughness. Increase roughness maybe. It's just a little, whatever you want. You wanna make it that. So this is our rock to start. I might need to increase the overall scale. Make it a little bigger. Like that. Yep, there. And then what we also want to add, just as a little extra detail, I think, to help. So I'm going to make another noise. I'm going to do backspace. And I'm going to duplicate this add. Oh, wait, I think I know what it was. I used lighten. Use lighten. Get this. Backspace. Duplicate it. And what you're going to want to do is, I think, increase the scale. We're going to make it a little more intense, so details up, distortion a little bit. It's just kind of some extra edge wear using this noise. You can might make it bigger. Just a little extra. What happens if I change the color here? Maybe make it a just make it white again. Yoink. There, just a little extra layer of detail. Now I'm gonna go back. Now that we have that, I'm gonna adjust the power of this. And behold, a rock! If we want, we can just quickly make a diffuse to shader to RGB, color ramp, basic tune shader, just pinch it. Maybe here, we can adjust it later. Invert, but put it in the color. Make sure you put it in the color. And then a mix multiply, but put this as the factor. And we'll just plug this final color output into here. Boom! Stylized rock with stylized shading. So this is our little procedural texture we made. It looks scary, but it's not too bad. It's just a bunch of noises. Here's our edge. And yeah, so this is how you make our first rock. The one problem is it's kind of, if I turn on wireframe, it's a bit dense. And you wouldn't want to use this in like a game. So what you want to do now is we're going to bake this texture real quick. So I'm just going to duplicate this diffuse because we're going to need it to bake the texture. So we'll just plug in. And there, that's what it looks like without this tune shader. I'm going to type in image. So we need an image to bake to. Rocky. Real quick, I'm just going to multiply these by 2. Just to make sure we have enough, like, pixel density. Okay. Now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go to our render engine and set it to cycles because you cannot bake an Eevee. We're going to go down here to bake. And from bake type, we're going to go to diffuse. It helps that we just have a diffuse. And we're just going to turn off the light baking. We don't want to bake the lights. We just want the color. And we're going to hit bake. Now this take a hot minute, so I may cut, I may not cut. We'll see. But yeah. But how are you guys doing? I'm glad we're having this chance to bake some rocks together. I was at a hobby store, and I remember one time I saw edible rocks, like for cake decorating, and they had some big ones, and I thought it'd be funny if someone just went to like an office meeting with their lunch was just edible rocks, but the rocks look actually kind of realistic, so it looked like someone was eating rocks. I feel like that's some sort of power move. Now, your computer may scream a bit. Our procedural texture isn't too crazy, but some of the more crazy ones might take a very long time to bake. I don't think ours will take that long. It starts off pretty slow. Sometimes the numbers don't even change. Sometimes it just stays at 1 and then it says done. So yep, we just chilling. Anyone else got pets? I got cats and a dog. Our dog's crazy. The dog eats everything. Like, you can't leave the dog alone. She'll eat. She's eating a windowsill. Windowsill. I'm like, why are you eating the windowsill? Why are you eating the table? Why are you eating the couch? Why are you eating the cat tower? She can't be left alone with anything. She has chew toys, but apparently they're not as delicious as everything else. Oh, I think it's done. Are you done? That was fast. Yep, it's done. Well, look at how dense this is. So now that we have that, I'm going to real quickly plug our procedural rock texture back in. And I'm going to make a duplicate just called Bake Rock. And we're just going to plug in Bake Rock to the toon shader. There we go. So we're still in cycles. Go back to Eevee. Okay. So this is Bake Rock. Or hold up, this is Bake Rock. And this is Pro Rock. See? Pretty much the same. Just this one's going to be easier because it doesn't have to load all this procedural nonsense. Woo! And so what you can do is we will take this rock again. We'll duplicate it. I'm going to move it up here. And we're going to go to... First of all, we don't need that anymore. They don't need the geometry nodes because it's baked. We're going to go to generate. I love how decimate is in generate. That's like the opposite of generating. See if I can do, whoa, normal. This is, ooh, I don't like that. Collapse. I think collapse is the best if you want to maintain the UV. So that's a pretty good collapse, I think. If I just turn this off, you'll see there's a little weird shading artifact, but the rock is better, and we can even go in and do more. You could like take all these out, probably go back in. You might need to adjust some of these. Like if I go to vertex, is it faces? Tries to quads. That should also get rid of some more. And I can even dissolve that. That's another quad. So you could just go back through here and take your time and remove more faces and do more. You can get rid of the divots. But yeah, that's a slight, what? Why? Okay, yeah, so you gotta be careful. Well, you do have to be a bit careful with it. You might, yeah, you would probably need to go back in here and like rejoin some of this stuff. You would need to take some time to come back in through here and some time to come back in here and like clean these things up. Like, yeah, you need to clean up some of this. probably go up and clean some things, but yeah, he would just need to do a little work. But it should be good. So yeah, yeah, you can always just, maybe you can even, just an experiment, what happens if I just unwrap it? Yep, no. So yeah, you would need to go back through and clean some of this up. Probably maybe not use the tries to quads. But yeah, that's it. So, yep, you can make a lower poly version. It requires some cleanup, but making this part I don't think is as hard. So this would be where the work would come in. But that's what you do. So next step is the easy rock. Or not the easy rock, the simpler rock. So we're gonna start with a cube again. And what you're gonna need to do is go to Edit, Preferences, type in Carver, and you should see something called Object Carver. And it will get you, you'll enable it, and you'll need to remember that it's Control-Shift-X to enable it. Now, this comes built into Blender. I'm on 4.0, so if you have a different version, it might not be there. But it's good. What is TinyCAD mesh models? That looks cool. Okay. So now we're going to do Shift-Control-X. Make sure you have your cube selected, otherwise it's going to want to do like the, it's going to want to like switch it to create, where you'll create your shape. But yeah, so cut difference, or cut type space. So it's rectangle right now. I'm going to switch it to line. And then what you can do is you can just click, 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 space. Ta-da! And what I like to do is I just like to go around and make it less like a cube. Sometimes it doesn't cut. It's a little finicky, but it works overall pretty well. Now it does make the topology a little whack. Oop. I didn't finish my triangle, so it freaked out. Oop. Just go around and give it a chop here and there. Might have to reopen the tool a couple of times. Oop. Just a little chop chop here and there. I just like to go around and make it less cube. I wish there was a way to, there might be a way to just cancel the cut instead of closing out of the thing, but that might not be the case. That's looking less cube. I might take a big chunk over here. Yep, big chunk. Big chunk indeed. Take a chunk here. Okay, I don't like that. That's pretty cube. That's really straight. Okay, that's not too bad of a rock. I'm just gonna go exit out, go to modeling, and here's our, go to the vertex real quick, and just take a quick look. Like, I'm just gonna move that out. You're gonna have some your topology is gonna be weird. It's not gonna be quad based, but because it's so low poly, that's usually gonna be okay. You can come back in later and fix it, but what you'd want to do is bake the texture first, like we did, so that you maintain these edges. So real quick, I'm just gonna go to proportional editing, maybe make this a little taller, a little smaller, make the base a bit chunkier. Maybe pull this one out a bit. Just making it a little less cube. Now you also want to go in and clean up and make sure all these edges are good. This rock turned out pretty good. Our next step is to test whether it's bevelable, because sometimes it doesn't want to bevel. So it's going to generate bevel, and we see that it actually beveled, so that means this rock has been approved for rock production. So I'm going to switch it up to segments, shall go to 2, and it shall be, you shall do a mount down to 0.01. and shade smooth. Now real quick, we are going to go to geometry nodes. Or actually, we'll just need to actually go back to shading. Just over here, it's real simple. Generate, okay, geometry nodes. There they are. And just apply rocky road, edgy, and for our material, go to Pro Rock. We're gonna duplicate this. We're gonna go to Pro Rock 2 because we need to do a little more, little like finessing or whatever it is to get these lines to show up a bit more. So what you might want to do is you might just want to, real quick, just plug this in directly so you can see it better. As you can see, these lines aren't going to be as powerful. So you need to do a little bit more work. I can see, nope. Adding another segment doesn't do that. It's just a little, sometimes it's just a little fight you have to do. I can try a bevel again. Can I bevel the bevel? Bevel the bevel. Bevel the bevel. No. Oh, wait. Put that above geometry nodes. That didn't do anything. It's just an experiment. Sometimes it's a little finicky. I'm gonna go to deform. Smooth. There, that's it. You just use the smooth. Just decrease the factor a bit. Let's see. Actually, set the factor back to whatever it was. And there we go. You will have to fight it. It's pretty per block for this one. So you would do this, and then you would just simply bake the texture. So now we just plug it back in, and ta-da! We got a rock. We got a rock. For this one, I think I'm going to set this to be a little brighter. Well, congratulations. You have rock of all types. You have simple stylized chunky. You can bake the texture too. You have high-tech, fancy rock, and you have rock that need help. Real quick. Just gonna go back and do the real quick. Decimate. There we go. Beautiful. Lower poly pretty much looks the same. There you go. Beautiful rock. There you go. Procedural color, baked, reduced, and simple rock. Okay, that's everything. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy all the rocks. Okay, have a good day and bye!